Mario has been dominating the video game world for decades and has basically become a mascot for video games as a whole. Even my grandparents know who Mario is, and the closest thing they've come to playing a video game is trying to figure out how their new iPhone works. So it's no surprise that when the Super Mario Bros. Series became such a worldwide phenomenon, they decided to branch out into other forms of media. Toys, food, education, sports, you name it, Mario has probably appeared in some way, shape, or form. But probably the most obvious route to go down was from the TV to the TV. Somewhere within Nintendo, somebody came up with the idea of, hey, what if we made Mario a TV show? And thus, in 1989, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show finally launched. I had actually seen a few episodes of this show back when I was really young. My mama owned a couple DVDs of the show, so whenever I went over to visit, I would pop them in the TV and watch them. So when I went back to my grandparents for a visit recently, I decided, why not rewatch the episodes? And after doing that, I have decided that I can no longer stay silent. I have to tell the world about this show because it is quite possibly some of the most insane and funniest stuff I have ever seen. Real quick before my video starts, if you guys enjoy my content and you want to support the channel, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. I'm trying to hit my goal of 1,000 subscribers before the year ends. Is that possible or realistic? I have no idea, but we're gonna give it a shot. Thank you guys so much. Now grab your popcorn, take a seat as I take you through this insane journey that is known as the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. And what better place to start than with the very first episode? When the episode starts, we're greeted with live action versions of our favorite plumbers in what looks to be some sort of rundown building. And without even being a full minute into the episode, there's already crazy stuff happening. While the bros are picking on each other, they hear a voice, to which Mario figures out that the voice is coming from their medicine cabinet. And lo and behold, when they open the medicine cabinet, who else is there but Nicole Eggert? For those of you who don't know who Nicole Eggert is, she was a popular actress back in the 80s and early 90s. She had a couple TV shows that she did. One that you might know the name of being Baywatch. What is a Baywatch lifeguard doing in the Mario Bros. Super Show? No. Better yet, how and why is she in their medicine cabinet? Anyways, they let her inside, and for some reason, she decided to just bring her entire sink to the plumbing store. I don't know why you would bring the whole sink, why you wouldn't just call the plumbers to your house, but more power to her, I guess. Mario and Luigi then proceed to absolutely butcher the plumbing job and cause water to go all over Nicole. Should have been wearing that lifeguard uniform, that's all I'm saying. Anyway, that's where the live action segment at the beginning of the episode ends, but just kind of keep it in the back of your mind because we'll bring it back up later. Also, they like to show these pictures periodically throughout the show. I think they were meant to be for when it would go on commercial break, when it was actually airing on live TV, but now they're just kind of there when you watch it. However, they're not really that important. The only reason I bring it up is because in one of the pictures throughout the episode, Nicole freaking explodes. Anyway, the animated portion of the show begins, and wow, they made an absolute banger for the intro.
Yo, it's the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's the game. Found the secret water zone while working on the drain. Lend the princess a hand in the mushroom land. Join the action with the plumbers, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
After the intro, we see that Mario, Luigi, Toad, and the princess are trekking through a big old snowy environment. In the opening shots, we also see what I think is supposed to be a Berto just start flying and crashing into not one, but two giant stones. This literally happens for no reason. It is never elaborated upon what this Berto is doing or why it crashes into the stones. It just happens. But then right after that, a Berto proceeds to swoop down, pick up Toad, and kidnap him and start flying off. I think now is a good time to mention that Toad is easily my favorite character within this entire show. All he does is be super sassy and talk trash to everybody he goes up against. And it's not even just his enemies. Like, he'll just randomly throw out trash talk to Mario and Luigi just for no reason.
Hey, Papa! Did anyone ever tell you you were ugly? I've seen better looking bombs after they exploded. I bet you have to sneak up on a match just to get a light.
Berto carries Toad back to her house nest thing. I don't really know what it is. This is where we discover that Berto's child has gone missing, and she has now mistaken Toad to be her child. Somehow. We also find out that Berto has a lisp and has zero control of how much saliva comes out of her mouth. I actually hate like lip smacking ASMR and stuff, so this like drove me nuts. I was cringing the whole time. We then cut away from Toad's nightmare situation to two flurries who have spotted Mario and the gang marching up the mountain. If you don't know what a flurry is, you can actually check out this video right here. It's made by somebody who's really cool, and it explains what a flurry is because it's a forgotten Mario enemy. So you can just click that video right there and go check that out. All right, and then come back. All right, thank you. The two flurries then take their findings and go to report back to King Koopa. They don't call him Bowser in the show for some reason. They always refer to him as King Koopa. I don't really know why that is, but not a big deal. We all know who it's supposed to be. Anyway, King Koopa, for their findings, decides to reward the flurries. How, you may ask? Maybe some gold coins? Maybe a little promotion within his army?
I want my feet licked.
I did not see that one coming. By the way, they lick his feet for like a solid 20 seconds. And if you're wondering what King Koopa decided to do within those 20 seconds, he decides to order an airstrike to go and attack the Mario Brothers. I swear I can't make this stuff up if I wanted to. Oh, in case you were wondering how Mario and his friends fought against the airstrike.
Mario! It's a bomb! And I was hoping for a nice salami sandwich.
I guess that's one way to handle that. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows yet, because some of the Albatos go up the mountain and begin a very dangerous avalanche. And when I say very deadly avalanche, I mean very deadly avalanche. It's not just your standard, just snow avalanche. They send giant sharpened rocks flying at the Mario Brothers. However, they wind up narrowly escaping thanks to a very conveniently placed door. Honestly, after everything else that I've seen, a random door is the least of my concerns. Okay, so in the next sequence of events that occurs, there are two major lore moments that happen. The first comes when the princess points out a very conveniently placed fire flower. Mario proceeds to ask what a fire flower is, to which the princess responds,
"It's magic! If you can reach it, you can become a Super Mario and get special fire power that can destroy King Koopa's evil helpers."
So does this mean that whenever somebody were to use a fire flower, the proper term to call them was to just be called a Super Mario? Like even before Mario existed, they were calling people Super Mario just because why not, I guess? I know I'm probably just totally overthinking this, but I find it very funny to think about. However, the second and actually big plot moment is when Mario goes up and actually grabs the fire flower. After making literally every Mario noise possible, he grabs the fire flower and says,
I love when that happens.
Hold up, didn't he literally just have to ask the princess what a fire flower even was? But now he's saying that he loves that feeling when it happens, like he's had it happen multiple times before. Come on, Nintendo, get your facts straight. Upon leaving the cave, the Mario Brothers stumble across the actual Berto child who has been frozen solid. At the same time, Toad proceeds to fall out of the sky in front of them and land completely unharmed. Turns out Berto was trying to teach him how to fly and dropped him from an altitude of 30,000 feet. Hi, yes, Editor Nathan cutting in here just to give you a little bit more detail about that last statement. I know I sounded like that was an insane height, but I didn't really realize the scale of how tall that was. The tallest building in the world is the Burj Khalifa, standing at 2,722 feet tall. So he fell to the equivalent of 11 of those buildings stacked on top of each other. Not to mention that 30,000 feet is the normal cruising altitude for planes. How is he alive? Oh, don't worry, he's okay though, because he just casually takes his head off and uses it as a parachute. So, you know, he's fine and there's nothing to worry about. What is going on? Upon seeing the baby Berto, Toad is like, oh, hey, that's who Berto's looking for. And then he just starts going right back to where he came from, going back to Berto's nest to let her know. However, right after he leaves, we see that King Koopa is fed up with all of his henchmen failing to kill Mario and the gang. So he decides to take matters into his own hands and leads a giant army of Koopas and Flurries flurries, and albatrosses to go take them out. They then surround Mario, and when all hope looks lost, who comes back but Toad himself, this time being carried by Berto, and drops 2 turnips on the battlefield. Really, Toad? You leave, you come back, you find your friends in trouble, and just decide to start throwing turnips at the enemy? Is that really the best you can come up with?
Retreat! Retreat!
Oh. It worked. Okay. Yeah, those 2 turnips were enough to scare King Koopa so bad that he just calls off his entire army, even though he still has the biggest advantage. Then Mario and the gang return the baby Berto to its mom, and they all live happily ever after. However, the episode isn't actually over yet, because remember the live action segment I told you to remember from the beginning of the episode? Well, now Mario, Luigi, and Nicole are back as you watch Nicole just get hit with thing after thing after thing. Smoke shoots out of the furnace, covering her with soot. She steps on a cake, getting cake all over her shoes. She sits down on a pizza, getting pizza sauce all over her butt. And finally, to top it all off, she stands under a place where trash just gets dumped right on top of her. What is her response to this? She has to be angry, right? I mean, no normal person is gonna take all that and then be perfectly fine with it. Nope. Turns out she's going to a sloppy party, and whoever is the sloppiest gets a prize at the end. To which, after hearing this news, they all celebrate by smearing cake all over Nicole's body. And then the episode just goes to the credits and finishes. I'm telling you guys, this is so insane that even if I wanted to say that I came up with this randomly to gaslight you guys, I would never come up with something this creative. And the episodes only get weirder and weirder. Take, for instance, episode 8. Once again, the episode starts off with live actors. However, this time, Mario and Luigi are dressed like Elvis Presley. After seeing each other's costumes, they both argue who's the better Elvis. Mario then, in a really triumphant tone of voice, tells Luigi that he is the far better Elvis. Why, you may ask? Well, it's simple. He made a shrine for Elvis. All jokes aside, this is actually terrifying and creepy. Kids, don't build shrines for people. It's weird. Anyway, shrine aside, they start getting a knock at the door, and lo and behold, who is it but the king himself? It's honestly amazing to me how many big celebrities they managed to get on this show. I mean, they even managed to get celebrities that died 12 years before the show even aired. I mean, that's crazy. However, we're gonna have to put the live action segment on the back burner for now because we're jumping into the animated portion of the episode. The animated portion begins, and we find that Mario and the gang have found themselves in the land of Rotunda. Immediately, we are introduced to the ruler of the kingdom and Queen Rotunda, who, holy cow! Yeah, she definitely lives up to her name. She has to have the worst back problems with those absolute cannonballs weighing her down. The amount of strength it would take to not just fall over all the time is insane. Whew. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted for a moment by her, rotundness. We discover that she's having her royal witch brew a love potion for her to give to a prince in order to make him fall in love with her. The show then cuts back to our 4 protagonists who are kind of just standing around until Luigi starts hearing a random beeping noise coming from somewhere. Mario then reveals the source of the sound to be his handy dandy red hot pepper detector. That is quite possibly one of the dumbest and yet simultaneously coolest inventions I've ever heard of. Anyways, the detector leads them to a big old field of, you probably guessed it, red hot peppers. However, after picking a few of the peppers, they are immediately stopped by some knights who inform them that the queen owns everything in the land, therefore she owns the wild peppers that they're picking, therefore that they have caused a crime and now have to go and appear in front of the queen for their punishment. One of the knights then goes and informs the queen that they've caught Mario and the gang stealing peppers. This scene isn't really important. I just wanted to point it out because in one shot of the scene, we see her eat a dessert off of this big tray filled with desserts. And then in literally the immediate next scene, the whole thing is just gone. No idea where it went. I mean, she might have just eaten the whole thing, which, to be fair, I wouldn't put it past her. Anyways, the queen appears in front of the gang and she sentences them to a light punishment. I mean, let's be real, all they did was steal a couple of peppers.
Off with our heads!
Okay, never mind. Seems a bit extreme to me, but hey, more power to her, I guess. But before they can be killed, Mario offers to have her try some of his famous red-hot pistachio ice cream. She agrees to try the ice cream, but when she does, it turns out to be way too hot for her, and she starts like freaking out, jumping all over the room, requesting water immediately. Mario then tries to help her out by grabbing the nearest liquid to him and shoving it down her throat. However, the liquid that he gives her just so happens to be the love potion. Upon drinking the potion, the first thing that she sees is Mario and therefore begins to fall madly in love with him. She chases after and catches Mario and immediately starts making him work out in order to make him skinnier for the wedding while she throws all of his friends into the dungeon. I would like to point out the fact that she makes Mario start working out, but then she herself doesn't work out. However, multiple times throughout the episode, we see her thrive off of her knights calling her things like your hugeness and your giganticness. Seems a bit hypocritical if you ask me. However, I'm pretty sure that 90% of her body weight comes from the absolutely massive bazookas she's carrying around, so she can't really do too much about it. Fast forward a bit, and now the wedding is starting. Luigi, Toad, and the princess have escaped the dungeon and went to the spell room where they brewed up another love potion in order to use to free Mario. Mario sees them up above, ready to help, so he distracts everybody by acting like his shoe is untied. I mean, we couldn't come up with like anything better than that. I feel like there's much better distractions than that, but it worked surprisingly well, so maybe I'm just dumb. This gives Luigi the time he needs to make the absolute best pour I have ever seen in my life. Honestly, like, I have zero idea how in the world he managed to pull off pouring perfect streams into the tiniest glasses and not having it splash anywhere. It's honestly miraculous. Mario then grabs the glasses, hands one to the queen, and hands the other to a prince, to which they proceed to drink, look at each other, and fall in love with each other. This allows Mario to meet back up with the gang, and they take off and run into the sunset. However, just like last time, the show isn't over because we cut right back to the live action portion where we see that the fake Elvis is now teaching Mario and Luigi how to act like Elvis. I gotta say, they picked probably the worst fake Elvis for this role. Sure, the guy kind of, I guess, looks like him and he sounds like him, but this guy cannot sing or dance to save his life. However, after teaching them everything he knows, he has them get up on stage to practice their routines for the competition. But right after they finish practicing, he literally just evaporates and vanishes into thin air. This leaves the Mario Bros, rightfully so, completely baffled as to what just happened, which is then followed by the credits with absolutely zero explanation to what in the world just happened to Elvis. This is nowhere near the end of the weird stuff that happens in this show. I mean, I could go on for hours just listing different episodes. However, I think it would do them more justice for you guys to go and just witness the insanity for yourself. I mean, there's one where Mario and the gang turn into babies because they find the Fountain of Youth. There's one where Indiana Jones shows up and his face is gone for some reason. And one where they have to sacrifice the princess to the fire god. There's no punchline. That's literally what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Once again, if you did, please consider supporting the channel, liking, and subscribing. It helps me to know what you guys want, and it allows me to reach my goal of 1,000 subs by the end of the year. This was a fun video to make. I got to watch a really insane show. However, now I have an Ultimate Frisbee game again tonight, so let's go, Huckaholics!